We are live now. We have our full team back again. Um, I don't want my music being picked up in the background. Anyway, we have me, Skull, Raptor, and Ruthless here, and we are going to be having a fun little discussion and just sharing today as we go over some Dungeons and Dragons stories, experiences, and characters that we have, had and lived through in the past. All of us, with a slight exception to Raptor, have played D&D for a long time. Raptor is still fairly new to it, and we're here to share our stories. So, does anyone have a spicy story that they want to share first? Get this ball rolling.
Yeah.
Ruthless Skull. You two have been in D&D for quite some time.
Spicy's the quote here.
Raptor, hush. Let them think, but don't think too long.
Yeah, for sure. I just kind of was listening if anyone was gonna speak first.
You two pretty much have the floor right now, because mine partakes more to Pathfinder.
Quote-unquote spicy.
Skull, your audio's getting a little Skull, your audio's a little weird right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, there might be a delay in when I'm talking as well.
Okay. That's good to know. Anyway,
Weird like cutting in and out, or weird like echoey or something else.
That too.
Like I'm not about to turn down the fan. It's ridiculously hot in my room.
I don't even think it's the fan, Skull. You're cutting in and out just like Raptor was not too long ago.
No. Let me leave and rejoin and see if that fixes it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're kind of cutting out too.
Raptor, hush. Also, Raptor, it just might be your stuff.
A little bit better.
I didn't.
That is better.
Anything.
There you go. He's cutting in and out again. Am I coming in through fine? No problems?
Yeah, you're coming in fine. I'm gonna try restarting my laptop. Maybe that'll help. I don't know.
It's always when we want to start that something bad happens. Anyway, let's go does that. Ruthless. Is there any stories you like to share? I know you've got a chaotic bunch of friends.
I'm gonna kind of save that some of their stories later. So I'm gonna actually tell one campaign story that I had from I think it was with Skull and you in that group.
Wait, is it the one where it was like the A squad?
Yes.
The A squad.
The A squad.
I mean, that's what it was though.
The only person had their first name wasn't fucking A, was fucking.
It was you.
Me.
Because it was Ruthless as the name you were giving yourself for your character, but then your character's actual name was John.
Yeah, his name was actual John, and it was like when he revealed his name in middle. I think it was mid game or like middle of the campaign. Everyone was like, "Okay, we're still calling you Ruthless."
Well, I think it was more. Wait, wasn't it your character that was more like, I don't mind if you call me John, but don't do it during combat. Call me Ruthless.
Yeah, it was.
That's what I thought.
I like that.
Because I remember I, as Arla, had called you John, and you're just like, that sounds weird. Tell you what, don't do that in combat. Any other time is fine. Just don't do it during combat. Oh, while we're, I'm sorry if I'm distracting from your story, Ruthless. I'm just reminded now. Remember when the bar fight?
Yes, it was so funny.
Welcome back. We're discussing the bar fight from Cole's campaign, the one that you missed.
Was
that? It was the session you missed.
That bar fight was so slapstick. It's funny.
Wait, was the name
Your audio's still pretty bad. You're still cutting in and out. You might have to, yeah, you might have to like text or message in the Discord so we know what you're talking about, or in the Twix chat.
I
Take your
am?
pick. Yeah, something I don't know. Something's coming in. Ruthless, you agree there?
Yeah,
Kind of. Okay.
I barely hear it.
Yeah, I hear it too.
Okay. Yeah, you're kind of still
Well,
cutting in and out a little bit.
I'll
Cutting out
my
so
fan.
bad.
Yeah, that's pretty bad there, Skull. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty bad.
Try shutting off the fan.
Okay. We'll see.
Oh,
We'll see
I
if it
thought
works.
mine was bad.
Yours is bad.
Pepper, shut up.
It's gonna be one of those
Yay.
nights. It's gonna be one of those nights.
Alright, there. Hopefully this is a little bit better now.
It actually is. I will admit, it actually is.
Wow, I shut off my fan and opened my door. In quotes.
I love it. It's fucking great. But anyway, yes, back to the bar fight. What was it? Allram. Allram was the one that started it, if I'm not mistaken. Because Allram, what was it? The rival group came in, and I don't remember if they said anything, but I just remember that Allram threw a chair, missed the dwarf, and everything just erupted into a fucking ball, like a brawl. And then I remember your character was piss fucking drunk.
Huh.
But didn't you at some point take off your clothes before the fight and then just start boxing around naked?
What?
Yes, I kid you not. During this bar fight, Ruthless's character decided, you know what? In my drunken state, I'm gonna just take off the only pair of clothes I'm wearing, which is my pants, mind you, because this man's running around shirtless. And then he just goes around and he starts fucking boxing along with everything else. Didn't you also try to piss on the dwarf?
I think it was I think I was like in my PC was like, yeah, I'm gonna take a piss just to fuck with him.
And didn't you miss too? Didn't Cole made you roll to see if you'd hit them, and you missed. Oh my god.
Now wait, this is important. Was he wearing anything underneath his pants? Like underwear or anything?
I don't know, Ruthless. You tell me.
That part I'm not saying.
Okay, that's what I thought. All I know is at some point he stripped down and he just started boxing naked in drunken stupor. I'm thinking about
I
it.
come back to the next session and I get to bear witness to the naked barbarian.
Weren't you like a barbarian fighter monk, Ruthless?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. You were like your mix of all three. It was fucking great. I think Arlo was one that was telling Axonar about that too, and then Axonar gets to bear witness to the full naked glory of Ruthless. Oh my gosh.
That camp was great.
Don't forget the goose assassination.
Yes, that came later. On a scale of 1 to 10, how attractive are the miners in this camp?
I'm lucky I missed that conversation. I don't know where I went for that one,
uh,
but I missed it. All I remember is coming back and seeing pictures of what the miners look like. Cause like, what was it, a 7 or an 8 of how attractive they were?
Something like that.
That's what I thought.
I think I still have that picture.
I bet you do. Don't you also have the one where you put like the SpongeBob on it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Ruthless was quick to answer that one. Oh my gosh, you guys are fucking nuts during that. Oh my god. Oh, let's not forget about Jeremy.
Kidnapping Jeremy.
Talk about Stockholm syndrome right there. You kidnap him, fucking chain him up, and then you're just like, "Hey, how you doing, sweetheart?" And then he's immediately smitten with you. How to fucking romance a bandit in like 5 easy steps.
Not
Nuh-uh.
20.
That's the power of the nat 20s, honeys.
I mean, we gave him the option to leave too, and he chose willingly to stay.
Okay, but I mean, to be fair, I mean, I have to agree with Cole's decision on this because, like, you were actually very upset by the sound. Like, just the notion of Jeremy leaving. I could hear it in your voice. Cole could probably hear it in your voice. We both knew that, like, Jeremy leaving was a bad idea for you because you had grown attached. And you know you're not really supposed to be doing that, but like, I mean, it just shows you care. That's one thing I love is like you grew so attached to Jeremy that you basically loved him. You wanted this NPC to stick around and grow with us. I mean, I felt bad that he was stuck with us of all people, but you know, you can't you can't really beggars can't be
The
choosers,
one,
can they?
the one adventure he comes on is down into the sewer when we're dealing with the hag, and he gets electrocuted right away.
Hey, look, you're the one who brought him along. You're the
Why
one.
did I live so long?
You're the one who brought him along. You didn't have to bring poor little Jeremy along with us. I felt so bad for that poor man. He was like fucking fried immediately. It took one lightning bolt and he was down. Okay, to be fair, that entire fight was very stressful. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like, we were all low on hit points. Ruthless was fucking chained to some table about to be performed in like some
Yeah.
ritual. Because you were also just weren't there.
What
But
type of dirty?
okay, look, to be fair, what happened was we were going through a sewer dungeon and Ruthless we came across a blockade and Ruthless was the only one who had enough constitution to actually like hold his breath long enough to, you know, take a swim in shit water. That's the nicest way I can put it. And he manages with his strength to you know, release the blockage, but in the current he gets swept away, so he's separated from us. So
Yeah.
it's me, Allram, Axinar, and Amarel who are basically left to go through this dungeon and try and find Ruthless, essentially. That was our job, was find
Didn't all
Ruthless.
didn't all Ram almost die because they tried to kiss a zombie or something?
Oh my god. Well,
Wait,
okay,
what?
to be fair, they didn't actually kiss the zombie. They were more just kind of like oh, what's the word I'm looking for? I think they were just investigating a trap too closely and wasn't paying attention, and then when the trap sprang, the zombie basically got a good hold of Allram and just wouldn't let go, kind of like had him in a grapple, essentially. And that was also
Yikes.
I remember that because that was whenever we were teasing Axinar about his crush on Jeremy.
Yes.
Yes, I remember that because I forget who made art about it. It might have been you or Amarel, but one of you guys made art about it afterwards, where everyone else was like in the corner, just like talking about your crush on Jeremy, and then Allram is just like, "Hey, a little help over here." No, wait, I think it was a meme. Ruthless, I think you're the one who made that. I remember that. Oh my god. I didn't feel bad for Allram in the slightest. It was really funny. And the one good thing is that that zombie was immobilized, so he could not chase us. So that was the one good thing. Oh my gosh. But no, yeah, then we get to fight the hag, and poor Jeremy goes down after one lightning bolt, mind you. And it's a stressful fight because even Amarel went down because she got spooked and tried to misform, and then she got hit by the lightning bolt too, and she went down.
Oh
Um,
no.
and then I'm just trying my best with Allram to try and salvage the situation. Thankfully, Cole showed mercy and had kind of like NPC'd Ruthless for a little bit, and which thank goodness because he managed to break free from his like bindings on the table and did some serious damage to the hag, but then he was put I think under a sleep spell. So
Oh
yeah.
no, the children!
Oh my gosh.
The
The
children.
traumatizing of Ruthless. Oh my god. Didn't you only kill one kid though?
It was by accident. It was like the kid was burnt to fucking almost like burnt.
Yeah, but like weren't you the one who flipped the not
Yes.
really cauldron, but whatever it was
like
on
a
top of him?
rock. It was
It
like a,
was
it was like a rock.
something like that. It was like a cauldron but wider and bigger, essentially. But no, yeah, you're the one who flipped it on the poor kid. I
I
don't
actually
know.
flipped it on
The
the
hag.
hag.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you flipped it on the hag that was next to a kid. So like
The many Any drunken rampages of Ruthless after?
I don't even. Oh my gosh, yeah. And who was the one that triggered the? Wait, was it Ruthless? Were you also the one that triggered the poison frog from the hag?
I think
Yeah.
it was.
Okay, I definitely remember that afterwards, because then Arla immediately got knocked out because of that. Everyone else was starting to come down too, trying to like not get knocked out by the fucking poison gas. Ruthless. I think Oren was the only one that stayed up because they had the was it Tiefling Constitution?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that's the one, right? Ruthless, the one where Tieflings
Yeah, I
have
think so.
resistance to poison.
I right now haven't even went to any sheets of mine or even done any I don't remember top of my head.
Okay,
We
so
literally have access to 5e tools. Why don't we look it up?
you guys can.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. But no, oh my gosh, yeah, the mini Ruthless was definitely traumatized after that. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
We basically had to pull you away from the alcohol.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Tiny half elf takes down the behemoth.
Weren't you dressed as a girl too?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Because I remember, what was it? Was it a gnome? Was it a gnome kind of peddler? Because I remember it was Axanar who was talking with him. He was like trying to sell us something, but then Drunken Ruthless thought he was the hag in disguise and tried to kill the gnome.
Yeah.
Gerbo, yeah. The entire conversation between the two of us.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're sitting there
Yeah.
like, man, must have having a nice conversation. And then Ruthless comes in and tries to kill him, saying it's the hag in disguise. And then, yes, of course, Axanar, who's up on the rooftops, just fucking gliding across them, is the one to take down. How tall was Ruthless? 7 feet tall?
I think he was like 6 foot, just 6 foot.
6 foot? Okay, I remember he was a bit. Well, no, because wasn't he taller than Arla? And Arla was about like 6'3", I believe.
Probably maybe 6'5".
Okay.
I vividly remember.
Alright, because I definitely do remember that Ruthless was taller than Arla, and I think that was funny because like he was a human and she was a high elf.
To my recollection, Axanar just barely broke the 4-foot range.
Yeah, because I remember you were celebrating that Axanar was taller than someone, and it was a fucking dwarf. And then Cole was congratulating you, like, congratulations, you're taller than a fucking dwarf. Oh my gosh, that shit was amazing. And then we have to mention the goose. We have to mention the strange old goose.
Yes. The goose that just kind of happened to be walking down the street. I wanted to catch it and tame it, just mage hand that shit, grab it, and I startled it. My next decision was, okay, jump out the window, run down the street, slay the goose.
Chopped its fucking head off, didn't you?
Yep.
Poor Jeremy was mortified by your decision. He's like, how could you? It was a goose.
Let's not forget the fact that we then proceeded to bring it into the tavern, get it cooked, and ate it.
You brought it to the tavern and you let it get cooked. You're the one who had the fucking goose. Oh, and then
Hey,
let's not forget.
Some of it too.
Ruthless ate it all.
It wasn't the,
Ruthless
wasn't
and his
the
drunken
only one who-
stupor ate it all. I remember, I think Arla and Amaral did not. I don't remember if Allram did or not, but just remember that after the goose was eaten, another goose came in, stared at us, and then walked right back out.
Yes.
I definitely I wish that the campaign hadn't been canceled. That was some interesting shit there.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Hmm.
If we're moving in this succession, what about with the first campaign I ran with you guys?
Tree?
I'm sorry, what?
Tree?
Tree. You know, when I think
Tree.
tree, I think of all the trees that Ruthless cut down in an effort to deforest everything.
Oh my god.
With his
Was most of the time.
bare claws, wasn't it? You were still a
Bare-
Wereline at that time, weren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking wrong
Yeah, I believe
campaign
so.
then.
Yeah, it was one of like Varicia.
Uh,
That's the one with
yeah.
Batsy.
Yes. Let me just attempt to seduce the prince without knowing he's the prince.
And the
Fail
failing.
miserably. End up with his ex instead.
It was a fucking playboy. Well, not really playboy, more a whore. Oh my gosh, that was great. And to be fair, the whore came on to you. Oh my gosh. Not to mention ruthless escapades with Rose.
Yeah.
That was fucking great. And then
like,
Raptor trying to move in on that.
yeah.
Failing miserably. Didn't he get his ass kicked for that as a result?
I don't recall.
I don't
Or at
know.
least he was
Ruthless, did
threatened,
he?
something like that.
He was. I remember he was like threatened, like, or just like he pretty much had like the blade near him, but never been like, yeah, gonna fucking straight up try to beat the shit out of you because he was like, nah, I'm like trying to beat the shit out of him, full blown. Maybe because he viewed fucking reordering as a waste of time to do it, unless he does something to actually cause him to do it.
Let's not forget Zarya.
Zarya was like the biggest factor.
Wait, but Zarya came in after the fact, though. Like, long
Yeah.
after the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, even with the like after the fact of like even with Rory like interrupting that whole scene, that one scene.
Oh, wait! He interrupted the wedding!
Yeah.
I forgot about that!
Yeah.
He was like,
Drunken
"Oh,
off
what
his ass! Oh my gosh, that was great.
I think that was one of the only times that Ship actually did something like semi decent.
Oh, what was getting rid of Riordan? But that's no
Yeah.
fun because then it ends the chaos. I mean, you gotta think the chaos factor is what's important here, not the sensibility.
The chaos. I kind of like the chaos of the event. Yeah, granted, I didn't see anywhere going with that one.
No, but it would have been funny if he tried.
Yeah, it was funny though.
Oh.
Like, that's the point.
How many different prostitutes did Ruthless and Dandy get for Raptor without telling him?
I think it was Dan that did it.
I think it was
Really?
Dan.
I thought it was you guys.
No, Dandy
Me-
was more not Dandy. Juan. Juan was more interested in drugging you guys than getting
Yeah.
you guys whores.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
the drug dealer. Okay, he's like
Yes.
the
Let's
guy
not
that
forget how he drugged an entire town. The water supply,
yeah.
nonetheless.
Yeah.
Never give that man drugs. Never.
Hey Raptor. Raptor, do you remember
Yeah.
Tiffany?
Oh god.
I missed that entire exchange in the roleplay chat. Like, I think you guys did that when I was fucking knocked the hell out, and I was a little disappointed.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of fun. That one was kind of fun.
So I want to ask Raptor, out of character, did you know what the fuck was going on, or were you just rolling along with
Yeah,
it?
yeah, I knew. I was just playing along because I was having fun doing it.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if they had filled you in or not, or you were just like going along for the hell of it. Because I know sometimes these two, and sometimes Dandy include that, they won't tell you what's going on, and they'll just surprise you.
Yeah. Admittedly,
No, I knew what was going on.
That time, at least.
I don't think I actually told you about that. It was kind of just like a. You got to witness it unfold with everyone else in the roleplay chat.
No,
No, I
think
witnessed
you've
it after the
kind of
fact.
transformed in roleplay chat, and I knew out of character.
Yeah, out of character.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's what I was asking. Was if he knew outside, like out of character, if he knew what was going on, or if you guys were just kind of like, "Hey, guess what? Surprise, motherfucker!"
I mean,
But
he
in
didn't
but
really.
in character, no.
Well,
He didn't get
obviously
full
not in
contact until
character.
way later.
What are some? Oh, let's not forget whenever Skull finally reunited with his father. Bassie reunited with the
Oh
father.
yeah.
Oh, boy.
Was it everything you'd hoped it'd be? Poor Bassie.
No, it was incredibly disappointing.
What were you
Um,
hoping would have came from that exchange anyway? Were you hoping he'd actually feel bad about his actions, or like what?
I honestly don't know.
I honestly find it hilarious that very similar to that what I shared in the meme chat a few days ago. It's like you ruined my life. How? I wasn't even there. That's like Bassie and his father summed up in one beautiful picture right there. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad I included that. That was fun. Oh gosh. Any other stories from that campaign you guys want to reminisce on?
Shelby.
Oh my gosh.
okay,
The
Shelby
would
was interesting.
the would be cat.
Yes.
That was.
Also,
Go ahead with this.
yeah, this Shelby cat was like, oh boy. and then fucking Toothless.
Oh my gosh. To be fair, you guys knew right off the bat Toothless was a dragon. You didn't know Shelby was a dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like with Toothless, it was like, yeah, like came out of a goddamn egg and then just was like,
Fuck you.
yes.
I mean, I think the funniest thing with Shelby later Zimri is the fact that they ended up with Kalanak by the end.
Oh gosh. The fact that
Um,
the song Dragon was crushing on the Crown Prince. Well, former Crown Prince. Hey, he finally ended up with someone, right?
Yeah.
Bassie didn't need to play matchmaker. Which, to be fair, I wouldn't trust Bassie's judgment when it comes to love. I'm saying that now.
I mean, it worked pretty well for him for the most part.
Hey, he came on to you first. You just happened to be there and failing miserably. That is just pure luck. An accident on top of that.
I mean,
If I need to retell the tale of how you fucking failed to seduce the crown prince because he was too
hey,
fucking stupid. And then his fucking whore came along. Is like, hey, good looking, let me take you out to get some dinner.
I mean, to be fair, Bassie didn't exactly know he was the prince.
Doesn't matter. Oh my gosh. You still
Which of his
failed.
brothers- Which of his brothers did Bassie end up sleeping with?
Luann. Cause I remember that
Yep.
because none of the because I know there was basically the other Sebastian, which was with Nadar.
Ah, yes,
Yeah.
Nadar.
Nadara.
A character that had so little of an impact, but just the one little bits of him was just enough, wasn't it?
Yes.
I love Nadar. Nadar was something else entirely. I'm not gonna lie, with the whole like him burning his food to a crisp, like pure crisp, that was like thought up right on the spot. I wanted to give creatives like a reason to panic by giving him like it's like something smelled like it was burning, like the house was on fire. Come into the
Yeah.
kitchen, you find like the Crimson Dragonborn just sitting there with a pan in front of him. It's like, oh hey, what's up?
Oh,
And
that's
creatives be like, you did a good job, buddy, but let me make food. And Dara's just like, no, you don't understand. I want it like this.
Let us not forget Esther pulling a Jack Sparrow whenever missions were brought up.
Oh, right. The whole thing
Window.
is like stealth and like slowly going away, and they're like, "Hey, wait, where are you going?" He jumps out the window.
Yes.
I found it funny how Chris just saw that, like him leaving. He's like, okay, bye. Like, really did not give a shit.
Yeah, just let him go. It's fine. No one really cares.
Yeah.
It's fine.
When there was the one time Sebastian tried to pull that, and Rose was just like, "Nope, not having any of that shit."
You don't mess with Rose though.
He's like, yeah, what goes with her, like, whatever she declares as, like, if she's firm on someone coming along, I'm sorry, I can't do anything.
Yeah, no, Crazy's kind of bent over backwards for Rose. Like, you don't get in her way.
He's like, yeah, I'd much rather not get neutered.
And she would too. She did it to herself. She'd do it to someone else. Oh my gosh.
Seducing the Chaos God.
Yeah, that was your own fault.
Oh,
That was my own
boy.
fault for letting you.
I really wish I hadn't missed that.
Oh, that's right. You weren't there for the last session.
Yeah, I was with my grandparents.
Yeah, well, you're lost. You missed Bassie having a complete meltdown after the fact, and then having to bring the IRL boyfriend around.
Yeah, I've missed that too.
That's a
That
good
was a
thing.
fun experience.
Yeah, I bet it was. I bet you learned a lesson, didn't you?
Nope, nothing at all.
All right, I'll remember that for the future.
Nothing at all if Tatsuya and the others were anything to go by afterwards.
Okay, look. It's Tatsuya and the others were not chaos gods, alright? Tatsuya was a rebel, Ezio was the crown prince of an empire, what was it, Lance? Lance was the other one, right?
Yes.
And Lance was a
Demigod.
fucking, yeah, Lance was a demigod.
Honestly, I would make argument. He's pretty much femboy Percy Jackson.
But he doesn't have lightning powers.
I don't remember Percy Jackson having lightning powers.
Oh, well,
No,
I remember from the
Percy-
lightning thief, though. That's
Oh,
why.
just the
Percy
lightning powers.
Jackson was the son of Poseidon.
Oh. Shows
Yeah.
how much I
Yeah.
know that.
Hmm.
I know
The
nothing.
entire thing was like,
Go on.
I can't remember exactly what it was, but it had something. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try explaining it. I read the books when I was in like 5th grade.
That's too long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I watched only like the first two movies and did not give two
No.
shits about the books and did not read them. So, yeah, no.
Yeah. The movies are like the worst.
Oh, I know. I've heard all about it. I've heard how the movies are just the worst. But no, yeah. I guess that's a fair point to make. Oh, then let's not forget about a Claire now.
Yes.
Yes. I'm silent.
I bet you are. Well, I will say this right now. You're gonna have a lot of changes coming up when I do get back to the Azura campaign, because she won't be entirely the same person. At least compared to what you had seen before. There will be some changes to Claire. She will be a fighter sorcerer this time around. And she'll actually will be nobility.
Ooh.
Yes.
Um.
I will be keeping Gethin around as well. So Skull, you might have your chance to win over the tiefling.
Yay! Which will probably turn out better with a more confident Charlie.
Yes, I really do look forward to that. That was I think that was something that kind of faltered for it feels like to me that it kind of like having that shy Charlie is what kind of like maybe created a bit of a disconnect, especially once I kicked the ship from the campaign. Cuz like there was no one really to lead you guys technically. And Ruthless, I know you weren't going to do it because you were more interested in exploring the world than, progressing with the plot.
Yeah, that's the element is kind of like might be might be a personal thing that I didn't. That I kind of just was like, fuck the plot. I was always kind of been like that.
Which I mean, it's fair because like it just really depends on how you like to play games. Because it's kind of clear, like Raptor, you're a bit of a backseat, like a backseat observer for a lot of this kind of stuff. Like you're just here for the ride, with very little impact on things. No offense, Ruthless. You're far more interested in exploring the world and the characters than the actual plot, unless like I would assume unless the plot like catches your fancy. And Skull, like I can't get a read on you. Like there's times where you care about the plot, but then there's times where like you just want to explore. So like you're kind of like a mixed bag.
Yeah. I don't know. With the way the campaign was set up, I was so lost, really, because there wasn't really much there for like story. I like exploring definitely, but there also has to be like a plot to
Which
fall back on that's like
there was a plot. You guys just got carried away with more of the exploring parts than the actual plot.
yeah.
Because like I did
It
have
probably,
parts of the plot come up, but then you're just like, oh, other stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, fine.
well, it probably doesn't help either that I'm not exactly a person who is capable of being like, hey, let's do this.
Which you might, well, someone might have to learn to be that because I don't know how many people we're gonna have for this upcoming campaign, but you guys are definitely gonna have to learn to become those type of people for this campaign. Because you guys are gonna have to try and like gain your own fame, and to do that, you have to be
Yeah.
go getters. You have to be like, hey, I'm gonna go do this. Don't necessarily have to do it together,
I
but
mean, with the way, yeah, with the way that you've got it set up, or the way you've explained how it's going to be set up, I feel like it's going to be a little bit easier.
Well, it certainly is. Like as far as I have stated that with this new campaign, you guys are just going to be coming in together. So like you're still not an official group, but like you're mutuals. I guess this is the best way to put it. Especially since most of you are gonna be fucking criminals at this point. I have an assassin, I have a drug dealer, and I have a chef.
Oh boy.
I think like the chef isn't the chef is like the least criminal thing.
Yes. Yes, he is. And then I forget what Danny wants to do. I think Danny's still trying to figure it out, but I think originally he wanted to be a scam artist. And I don't know what everyone else wants to do because no one else has gotten back to me. Oh my gosh.
Well, I've been trying to encourage ghosts, just very gently saying, hey, if you're stuck on a character, maybe talk to somebody else. They might be able to help. I don't know if they've actually done that yet.
Yeah, Lotus. I sometimes feel your pain. Sometimes with, sometimes with players, with them not like, with just not getting anything or not getting enough.
Or even just anything at this point, because like all I have is stuff from Raptor, you, and the Skull, and I've got like a whole list of people that need to get their shit done. Though Kitty said she's not sure if she's actually able to make it at this point in time, so she's a big maybe. Slayer was always a big maybe. But I don't know about Shayberry. I don't know how to say their name. I don't know about them. Ghost, I have no faith in. No offense, Skull.
No, it's fine. I've been trying to gently encourage them to talk to people, and they're not doing anything. So
okay, so yeah, I have no faith in them. What about Photon? Have you heard anything about Photon with the campaign?
I've also been trying to encourage him to talk to people, but I don't know.
Okay, so I have no faith in either of them. Good to know. I think it's literally pretty much just you three again, for the most part.
Oh boy.
I know Dandy has someone else, but I'm just like, I don't have much faith. I have no faith in anyone outside of you guys.
It's sad. I have more faith in Poppy than any of the other mentioned people.
It's because Poppy actually gets shut down. See, like I wouldn't mind having Poppy back because he was actually entertaining. It's just obviously he doesn't quite have the commitment to it, which is my only thing. I'm like, I'd love to have him, but he just doesn't have the commitment, and that's just my biggest thing. Because like again, that's what also fell through a lot with the Azura campaign. Is a lot of people just didn't really have the commitment to it. Because you saw like Dandy brought in one of his friends, but his friend just went dead silent. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
It's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're only there for like 3 sessions,
not even.
maybe.
I think it's more like 1 or 2, maybe 2 if they're lucky. And then
I think
Ghost did their best, but like, you know,
But Scully was Scully.
yeah, it's just there when they had a moment, but they didn't have that many moments. So
Yeah.
no,
I mean, I
it's.
can't really say everything. Ghost has a lot of free time. I think it was more so just a lack of commitment.
I think it's very much like a commitment. That's just the biggest thing you have to remember with Dungeons and Dragons. Like, it is a big commitment. Like, I think people really underestimate what kind of commitment it takes to like just play this game alone. Like, running it is a whole different thing entirely. Like, you have to have so much commitment, time, determination, and fucking creativity to run a damn like campaign. Even if it's just a
Yeah.
one shot, like, oh my gosh, there's so much that goes
Yeah.
into fucking D&D, and it's great. But it's also annoying too, because then like you get things like that.
Yeah, I'm starting to think now with like the way I've got my stuff planned out for my campaign that I plan on doing, I might just run it as a series of one shots.
That'd be interesting. That also might be best, all things considering.
Well, the person that was supposed to help me with DMing is doing nothing,
Being a flake,
even though
basically.
he was dead set on being the one to DM it. Because I don't have the confidence for that entirely.
I
I
mean,
can do the right.
I'm gonna be the one to say it because I'm just in that kind of mood right now, and I do apologize, Skull, but like your boyfriend's kind of a bitch. I'm gonna say that now.
Like, I kind of hate to agree sometimes.
I mean,
'Cause
he's
I
just
love him, but he's an
so
ass.
quick to like give up on things or like just
Yeah.
shut himself away, and I'm like, okay, I'll remember this for the future.
I'll admit I'm just gonna say this. I'm staying silent for this mainly because I don't know much other than that one block quote from him and some of the messages and some of the interactions with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, where
I
he's
haven't
like,
done
"I'm
that
sorry if I
either.
come off rude." It's like, okay, buddy. Yeah, no, there's. I'm telling you right now, Skull. A lot of people don't like your
Yeah.
boyfriend. So,
Yeah. He's well aware of that, and I don't think he cares.
I mean, that's all well and fine, but like, there's a line.
Yeah.
There's definitely a line, and I'm sorry, but I don't think your boyfriend really has what it takes to be a DM. I'm gonna say it now. Not to be mean or say like he can't do it, but like he needs to like change before I think he can
Yeah.
handle it. Cuz like being a DM is just I don't I don't really think it's about the confidence like you feel like you need Skull, but it's definitely more having the creativity to create the story, the characters, the world and everything. Even if you just go off something in the Forgotten Realms, you still
Yeah.
need like some ounce of creativity.
Oh,
It also requires a lot of improv. Like I
yeah.
didn't realize it until like the first campaign with you guys, just how much improv there's needed. Like the first night, you guys had like I think it was technically the first session. It was the first or second session. I forget what wasn't it Juan. Wasn't it Juan and Jeebus that was like, let's go find drugs?
Yeah.
I don't know. I missed the
Yeah.
first 2 sessions.
Oh yeah, because you didn't come in till much later.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you came
Yeah.
into the campaign late.
Well, it's because Skull finally had things clear up in their home life, and I decided to extend them the invitation because I'm like, hey, D&D, you interested? Now that you've like cleared up some shit in your life. But no, yeah, like literally, it was like the first or the second session after like the fest. No, I think it was like the first night, the first session. It was like after the first day and everything, they were all having their fun, and then they were meeting at the tavern. And they're all just like, let's go get drugs.
Yep.
Just like
That was
why?
during first session.
I had this feeling because wasn't it didn't Jeebus have a drinking contest with Ruthless or Creatives?
Yeah.
That's what I thought because
Yeah.
he also lost to the Barbarian. Because I remember Ship was just like, and that's why you don't challenge the Barbarian to a drinking fight.
I think Riordan might have joined it as well.
I don't
think.
remember that. I don't
I
think
don't
you
remember.
did. I
Pretty
think
sure
it was
it's-
just Jeebus and Creatives that was doing that. Or was it Allred? I think it was Allred. What was his name? So Allred and Creatives were
Yeah,
the one
his
that was
name was
actually.
Ulrid.
Thank you. So yeah, it was those two that were actually having the drinking contest, and Allred went down fast.
Ulrich was the wizard that they put in the bush, right?
Yes, that was the Bush Wizard.
Yeah.
Bush Wizard. That quickly became a running joke until it basically stopped.
Yeah, the wizard with shit in his pants.
He was-
That
he
had
was
tree branches all over him.
He was basically just reduced to house butler by the end.
Pretty much.
Housekeeper.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't even say that. I think Zarya was more of that for you guys.
Yeah.
Because I kind of just like ignored Ulrich's existence and just left him in that bush.
Let us not forget the year we spent in hell.
It didn't feel like a year to you
Yeah.
guys.
Didn't feel. Yeah, it didn't.
Yes. That was an interesting experience.
Experiencing like what was it, the 9 circles of hell?
Yeah.
And Crazies goes and ruins it by teleporting you guys all to like the 4th or 5th circle.
Yeah.
I mean, with all fairness, he was going to the one that's like to his. Like, he
Yeah,
was just like,
that's the problem. You were going to your partner.
he was like, yeah, no, I don't want to fucking. If I'm in hell, I'd much rather die in somewhere down die alone.
Well, that and the fact you were also stuck with Aki too.
Yeah.
Well,
I-
everyone only got into hell because of Sebastian in the first place.
Yes, because I think didn't they? It wasn't like Sebastian, like Bassi was left alone and was captured.
Yeah.
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 That's
they
what I
did a
thought.
lot of that campaign, abandoning the bard.
Hey, the bard could help you if you don't run off without him. Oh my gosh.
Like when Rose got kidnapped.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Rose getting kidnapped by harpies.
Yep.
That was great.
And much sooner that could have been resolved had they not gone without Bassie. I am
like-
going to stay bitter about this.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Like, I mean, you were a
I
glamour
love-
bard, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have been very helpful against the charms.
But no.
We had to go without the bard.
I will forever stay bitter about this. For as long as we are friends.
Hey, be mad at
I
those
have-
two. I'm just the DM.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be very fair. I honestly was like, if I was kind of playing him off, it was like just fucking reckless as fuck.
I mean, so is Ship too.
Yeah, but I kind of did. I was out of character mode. Was kind of aware that like you like
This was a bad idea.
I didn't plan plan it out thoroughly. I just was like turned off my brain and was like just walk into it.
But didn't you also like not really know what was gonna happen either too? So it's like,
Also, yeah.
how can you prepare for something you don't know? Like everything seems fine. Don't worry about it. And then harpies fucking descend from the sky. That was fun.
My favorite and least favorite thing about the campaign was Juan and Din constantly stealing loot from each other, but at the same time also kind of making it hard for anyone else to even really get a chance at claiming anything.
Yeah. I mean, at least Juan pretty much just stole from Din for
Yeah.
most of it. And if he did steal from you guys, it was like small, insignificant things that wouldn't really make a difference. Mostly because I wouldn't
Yeah.
let him take the anything special. I remember he tried to steal Shelby, and I told him no. Because I
Yeah.
knew you didn't want him touching the cat, because, you know, he'd probably drug the cat.
Well, he failed that. Didn't he fail that role anyway?
I don't remember. I think I told him no anyway, because I think he rolled, and I told him no. Like, no, he's not doing this. Like, I'm pretty lenient on a lot of things, but I'm not gonna let, like, inadvertently harming it. Not really harming, but, like, upsetting other players. But there's some things
Yeah.
I can't help. Ruthless and Raptor.
Yeah.
And
Do we want to bring up the fight?
Disarming.
Do we not remember
Just
this fight? Ruthless, I'm sure you remember. You always apologize for it.
Oh yeah. That
Yeah, you remember.
one. To be honest, I tried to forget that one.
Yes, but then you're always constantly apologizing for it too, so it's like,
Yeah, but at the same time, I kind of apologize to you, and most of to you because the fact that in my opinion, I think that was the moment of yeah, this shit
I wasn't
just hit
even
the fan.
around for it. That was what I was upset about. Like, you guys fucking did that when I was fucking asleep. Like, you guys have a habit of doing that too, I've noticed. Like, the moment I go to bed, that's when shit really gets interesting. And then I miss out on it, and I have to be the one to catch up in the morning. I'm like, what the fuck did you guys do?
Yeah.
Because, like, I missed the whole Tiffany thing because I was asleep during that. And I missed the whole thing where you killed. I don't even remember what his name was. But yes, I was asleep for all that.
Attempted. I would say attempted, then kind of look. What's his name? Outlead. Now, yeah, he probably have to do some death saves, and yeah, like there might been able to pull some bullshit to save him, but
Yeah, but
Well,
like later you're just like, I'm sorry I killed him. It's like, oh jeez. First of all, I make that call.
that's fair.
Second
now,
of all,
now you guys got me curious about the character's name.
I don't fucking remember. Raptor, what was
gonna
it?
go-
Sure.
are we talking about the most recent fight?
Yeah, the one where you shot an arrow at, the crazy half dragon, half
Yeah,
tiefling creature.
Shiruko.
Thank you.
Shiruko.
Shiruko. Was it like a half
Yeah.
orc?
Yeah.
Or was it full orc?
Half orc.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought it was a half orc, but I wasn't too certain. First of all, don't mess with the crazies. Hope you learned that lesson. And second of all, don't pick a fight with any of Ruthless's characters.
Well, it's not any
Yeah.
of the characters. It's just don't pick there's if it's insane character like that.
Okay, so I'm gonna be fair right here, Ruthless. He could probably have picked a fight with anyone and not have that kind of outcome. Your characters are a whole nother beast entirely.
It was that
Yeah.
character was a totally different beast, and I kind of tried to have a more calm.
I mean,
I will say though, I will give you credit though where it's due. That was an insane character done right. Most of the time when people play insane characters, they're just playing assholes.
we look at what was the name? I forget the
remember.
name. I know I can't remember either.
Let's scroll.
I don't have that patience. You guys can. A ship's character for the Ozra campaign. That was that's definitely what fell into the insane characters that were actually assholes.
Okay, you don't have to make an insane character be assholes. You just have to understand the psychology. That's the key thing about playing a batshit character. And you don't have to make it very obvious. You can make it very.
Well,
But at the same time,
yeah, but he was trying to he would do stuff and then try to be like, "Oh, sorry, I'm insane. Don't mind me." And it's like that's not how it works.
Yeah, that's another thing that I find that some people who play insane characters like, oh yeah, I'm just insane. I'm like, are you serious?
Example A, bothering the anxious Ifrit that was already
Yeah,
would probably
that wasn't
fire.
smart.
Yeah.
Didn't you burn his cloak or something?
See,
Yeah, and then he got mad.
I would if I did if okay, so I'll admit this. If I was playing like deeply insane, like a whole level of insane, I might have done it, but at the same time, he would have been like, more fire on me.
Yeah, like that's different, and especially since it was like a Nephilim. I think that's how
Yeah.
you say it. Like the half tiefling, half Aasimar. Like that would have worked too, especially.
Yeah.
But no, he didn't play into that. He just stood there and let it burn.
Thorn.
It's like Thorn. Ah, thank you. I knew it was something of a name, but and then let's not forget, like he was fairly greedy. Like be careful of greedy characters in your campaign. Those are very troublesome characters.
It depends on which context, but
Okay, in the
I'll say
context of
yeah.
what Thorn ship was,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
Can we
like
not? On the topic of Thorn, let's not forget the fact that Adric was trying to pick a fight with Thorn like very early on.
why the fuck was what? I missed that. I forget that.
Yeah, I remember.
What was that about? Refresh my memory.
It was about
I think, like, looking at the roleplay chat right now, it looks like Adric was getting jealous
Jealous.
about the fact,
Jealous.
slight jealousy from Charlie talking to different person, question mark, is what I'm reading from the thing.
Oh, is that when Adric was simping hard and heavy for Charlie?
yeah.
Yes.
Are you talking about?
Oh, no, wait, no, Thorn instigated it.
Oh my gosh.
Aren't you talking
Thorn
about
instigated
when
it.
Thorn
Don't
was?
worry, I'll keep you guys safe. And then Adric was like, was saying, I can handle myself. Thorn then proceeded to try pick a fight. Charlie went on to say, he's just trying to get you going. Like, it's a waste of time trying to fight him. Then,
Okay.
Adric continued pushing, and it eventually ended with Charlie just being like, Adric, smarten up. Smack upside the head for good measure. Neither of us are built for hand-to-hand combat, you know this.
Yeah, and he was getting into a fight with the fucking barbarian.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. For what was supposed to be an insane character, it didn't feel like it. Especially like, like remember when he was his biggest concern was always how to make money.
Yeah, that's like okay. If again, like I'll admit, Jack was like I kind of made him a mercenary, and the one thing that I kind of was like thought about is if I'm making a really deep batshit, he wouldn't give a shit about doing mercenary jobs. There would actually be less of a reason he just do it for free, but he just doesn't do it for free because he's like I want to.
And Jack was a hunter too, so he was also able to make money that way. Even when when talking to Thorn and be like, "Hey, you could do this too," but then he's like, "But my character doesn't know how to do this." And I'm like, "Well, what about this?" And he's like, "Well, he doesn't want to do that either." We're like, "Well, you're gonna have to think of something, sweetheart, because I don't know what to tell you otherwise."
Yeah, with Thorn, I was like, and then when he was like, I'll admit, with Thorn, I was like, are you kidding me? With dealing with him.
And now we move into the horror stories section.
Yeah, now we go into the horror stories, which we've got a fair amount when it comes to Thorn, because Thorn was Thorn was our problem player that we had for a campaign and a quarter.
The one thing that really irritated me about it was like whenever we ended up with any sort of loot, if anyone showed any sort of interest in anything, he would automatically sleight of hand the item, so that way the other person didn't even get a chance.
Okay, I'll admit this. There was a reason why it made my perception insane because of him specifically.
Oh, that's good to know. I didn't know that.
I will admit this up front. I made it insane because of him. I wouldn't normally do I don't normally do it mainly. I don't normally do it mainly because it can I don't 100%. I can see it being a lot of work for the DM, and I'd be if I give a shit about the game, like really give a shit about the game, and just don't want to fucking unleash a lot of pain on the DM. But it was like it felt like a situation where I had to.
Let's be fair though. With that campaign, all of our stats were ridiculously broken.
That's what made it fun.
Yeah.
I honestly did not mind the
Really?
fact that your guys' stats are broken. I told you guys that multiple times too. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
actually fun. I'm enjoying this.
Okay, I think I'm back now.
The bard who
Welcome
couldn't
back.
fail charisma check if he tried.
Versus the
Yeah.
next campaign who with a bard who couldn't pass a charisma check.
Okay, that was Raptor's own stupidity that did it to
That's what
him,
makes it
though.
great.
It was honestly the most funny. I was honestly laughing my ass off every time that like I kind of laughed my ass off with the whole bar that just keep on failing their charisma checks.
the bard that couldn't seduce anyone. It was great. It's okay,
Honestly,
Raptor. You'll get there one day.
it did inspire me to make a very nerdy bard to the point where they just have no interest in seduction. They're just intimidating.
That's
Hey,
just
that's
fun.
different. Yeah. But anyway, like we're getting off track of our horror stories. This is the horror story section of it. Basically, you don't want to be a thorn. Someone who, yes, would always try to steal other people's loot. I definitely remember with some pieces. Obviously, like after the Harpy Den, clearing that out, there was definitely that whole thing where wasn't wasn't there like wasn't a genie bottle in the loot?
Yeah.
Yep.
Weren't you the one that got it, Ruthless?
It was Din that had it. He was like, we'll split it. Like,
No, I think you got it, but then he begged you, like, hey, there's only one thing I want to wish for. Please let Din have a wish. Because I think the genie had 2 wishes, roughly, or maybe 3.
nah, I don't think. I think Din had it first.
I don't
I had the
know.
thing.
I can't remember. Anyways, any advice for
was
anyone
actually-
going into a campaign? If someone else gets something and you don't get the treasure and you want it, don't get upset. It
Okay.
really sucks when you've got the person who it's like, if I can't have, if they can have this and why can't I? It's frustrating. It's incredibly frustrating.
It's very fun. Or even for, so this is from my DM perspective. And I kind of get with what one of my old groups, well, old DMs was talking about when he said this, though. I think it was just in that one instance where we had the issues, where it's not fun trying to, like, obviously have a game for everyone, and you're trying to do nice things for people, but then that one person gets upset because you won't do nice things for them. But it's like, dude, you have all sorts of things here. Why do you need more? Why
Yeah.
can't I do this one nice thing for someone who doesn't have anything really going for them? Because, like, I'm not gonna lie, when it came to introducing Zimri, I was very on the fence because I wasn't sure how Ship would react.
Yeah.
And that's when I ultimately said, fuck it, and just did it anyway, because, I want to do something nice for you, Skull. Or at least for Bassie.
Yeah. And wasn't that after the entire incident where Shelby essentially died?
I was long after. I think that was, like, it was a ways bit after that, because I think it was, like, right before, the final altercation and everything.
Loki, I would laugh if like throughout the whole like at the end of the game it would be like an alternate reality version. Fucking Zembri just like as the cat just like yes I will scheme.
I was
Scheme.
skiing. Oh, no, it's all good. Or, like,
I
When
will
go-
scheme and sleep on a key's face.
oh, well, he already did that anyway, so. Or,
Yeah.
like, even when going into the Osric campaign, I had an issue with, because again, like, obviously, so what I tried to do with the Osric campaign is that you guys all came from different backgrounds, so each of you would have, like, different starts. Some would be a little more well off than others, and, like, to try and give it a little more depth instead of just having you guys all start on equal footing. Try and make it a little more difficult for some of you, and then for some of you would have a bit more of an easy street.
Yeah.
Because then it felt like your characters were a little more real in that regard. And so, like, again, there's also a way I kind of pushed you a little bit, Skull, to do Charlie, because I really wanted to have that plot thread, because I thought it would be fun. And I hope with a more confident Charlie, it'll be fun again. But
Yeah,
just Thorn's reaction to that was very unsavory. I guess is the best way to put it.
yeah.
Another thing that I kind of find,
There was one thing, like, I don't know if I ever admitted this, but I honestly, like, felt guilty for choosing Charlie as my character just for the past and everything because of Din's reaction.
See, and that's bad. That's what I didn't like. And I know, Ruthless, you had told me very similar things, how you had felt guilty on some things because, like, I think it was when you guys were planning your first expedition into the wildlands or the
yeah,
wild forest, basically, and how you felt guilty because everyone liked your plan over ships, even though he was so adamant on going through with that plan.
okay, I'm gonna say this right now. Okay, I was thinking from like a Bear Grylls survivalist perspective, and I was thinking hard in that perspective. And
Right?
when I made the character, I tried to embody that mindset and embody everything of it. And I even did a little bit of research into it. And
Mm-hmm.
even when I did that decision, and when I suggested that plan, I didn't know about. And also another thing that I kind of had a problem with is like, see, it would be another thing if he just was like, oh, yeah, I had this plan proposed, and now I had this plan proposed, and it was all mapped, or just been like, hey, you know what, that plan is seems decent, or hey, this plan is, well, your plan works a lot. Everyone else liked your plan a lot better. Okay, let's do it. It seems better, or just say nothing. Like, you don't have to, like, if you don't have anything positive to say, you can just say nothing. That's kind of what I kind of do.
That would be the ideal, but not everyone follows that ideal is the problem. And I know Ship really didn't, unfortunately.
Now, there's a difference between being brutally, like, if you're just honest with someone and just straight up just being too much. And
Yeah.
sometimes honesty can be too much, but at the same time, you gotta to. There's some places where you just gotta have to understand what is when the honesty is needed.
Or like not even
There
just a
was,
matter of honesty, it's just a matter of not getting upset when
Oh,
things don't
yeah,
go your way cuz that was the biggest thing with Thorn and Din for that matter cuz I'm not
he
going to
feels like a
lie.
he feels like a silver spoon player.
He does also come from like a bit of an older age of D&D too. But
Well, I kind of had that type of player in my other game. I kicked him out because he was like I was like trying to give some concessions of like try and make things like every time that his plan fails, he would just be like after that session he just dip for like so many sessions, and then when he come back, when he passed some succeed on like some plan, he would just play more often, and I wouldn't be able to plan shit or just like have to like make sure yeah he's like perfectly fine. Like it pissed me off, and some of my players was fucking pissed with him to the point where I was like, okay, I'm gonna kick him.
I mean, hell, that's what
yeah,
eventually happened with Ship too.
yeah. You
Which
know, I have another horror story for when I played Dungeons and Dragons in high school.
Ooh,
Oh, hold on.
Oh.
ooh, the horror stories from there. Oh, I have memories.
yeah, that's
Uh,
whew. What?
So, Dungeons and Dragons, right? We had the same group throughout the entire school year, and there was one particular person who didn't really um, stick with the character they were playing. They kept changing their characters, which wasn't frustrating for, they couldn't decide on what they wanted for a character. It was more so frustrating because you'd have to get a read on the new character.
Yeah.
Okay.
Loki, I kind of have that problem with one player, but the thing is, the problem is, he sometimes, like, he either sometimes just like either he either goes into the trap and he just has horrendous luck, and I sometimes have to either save him or just let the event happen.
Yeah. Well, with this particular person, their entire thing, with some of their characters, they were actively trying to make things more difficult for others, and other characters, they were trying to be just a little bit too helpful. And it got really frustrating.
Okay.
Yeah. And another thing is, like, a lot of the people in our group went to the DM as well to see if maybe they could figure something out with this particular player, and nothing ever really got done.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I'm glad that we ended up getting sent home and shut down because of COVID and the teachers going on strike. Because had things gone on for much longer, I think I probably would have lost it, like, at the table.
Which, that's fair. I mean, yeah.
Like, it was so much to the point where, like, a lot of us just weren't having fun anymore.
And that
Well,
can happen, unfortunately.
yeah, for sure. Sorry. Honestly, I'm gonna say this: high school D&D is kind of like kind of can be the worst place to find a game. Can be. I'm not saying it's not. It's always bad, but it can be a really bad place to look for a D&D game. I'll admit, when I DM first time, and I think it wasn't even first time. It was the second time, actually third time I ran a game. I ran it on the school, and the people that I ran for, even though they're like first time players, they said, "Yeah, your game is pretty good." But I was like kind of in my subconscious was like, "Did I do good? Did I do good? I hope I did not fuck up."
Oh, it's a
Or
mood.
made it obvious that I fucked up, because I have done like so many fuck ups with like some of the sheets. I had to even fucking do, and we were like in person, so I didn't have my fucking. I had to use like my phone to pull out like the sheets, and I would
Mm,
use. I think it was like D&D Beyond, pulling off
ew.
those monsters from there,
Yikes.
tweaking it, and I remember one of my players from that group still with me, and he told me this day, he's like, "Your game was still good." I was like, "Huh." It honestly doesn't matter. Like, it's all about with D&D. It's all about like understanding like understanding the players.
And I think the worst thing that happened in, like, other than with the problem, I say problem player, in my high school D&D group, we full on had, like, both handbooks and phones banned from the table because there was one person, not the same one, who would continuously look up monster stats and then proceed to tell everyone at the table what it was we were fighting.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, that type
oh.
of person. Um,
Yeah.
usually,
So there were people who were using their phones or handbooks for spell descriptions or character sheets. You can imagine how well that went over after the device ban from the table.
Not
yeah,
well at all.
Yeah.
yeah. I actually had one player that was like that in the first game that I ran, and I actually talked with one of my players. We took it easy, and then he started a PvP, killed a player of mine. And then I was like, okay, I'm ending the game right here. Mainly because we discovered that he fudged his stats. And then, not to mention, guess what else he did? He was
What?
not following the gun rules. And he did not even have the gunner feat. And was just unlimitedly shooting. When I was like, I was one of those, and by the way, I'll admit this, I'm one of those GMs who rarely, almost seldomly, almost 0% chance of me looking at someone's sheet of a player of mine. So I walk into like every game just not knowing what's in their sheets. And I kind of don't care to want to know. After that game, I was
On
like,
one hand, you should be able to trust your players to like, be
Yeah.
able to be honest with their stuff.
yeah. I ran into that one time with one player. It did like another time, but I was like super fucking livid. But it did seem like it was an accident, and I took his word on that. But at the same time, back in my mind, took note of that mainly because once I see some type of bullshit like that, I will immediately kick. Like, I'll admit this up front. I have a hard time trusting people overall. Like,
That's a mood.
once you break that trust, I don't want to talk to you at all.
I definitely feel that. I really do.
Or even if there's a slight amount of deceit, I don't want to associate with you. Or even slight amount of bullshit. That's why, like, recently in one of my games, one of my players is like, I did sense some deceit from one of my players. I sense it a little bit in one part of what he was saying. And I was like, okay. Took a minute, hear both of their sides. And by the way, I tried to not jump to the gun. But if I do sense deceit, I'm a little bit higher guard. I'll admit that front.
Well, that's fun.
That's valid.
Any other stories people want to share? Any more horror stories on top of that?
Do you want to hear the high school class, like the first game that I played in high school?
If you want to share it.
Oh boy. I'm gonna say Billy Bob and Sally in this story.
Okay.
Where Billy Bob is like the DM and Sally is the player that I will mention.
All right.
So, context. We're all 14 years old.
Ooh.
That's like the first part of context that I'll give this. And now I'll start the story. There's only one person that was actually like 18, I think. That I think he noticed it to the point where he was like disappeared.
Okay.
At the time when I was okay, and that's like the context I will give. Now I'll go to the story. So, first game, my friend of mine, Billy Bob. I'm always like I just hang around in lunch and I'm just like eating. I bet like eat sometimes, and he was like, "Listen, you need to get into D&D. You need to try D&D. You really gotta love it. You're gonna be able to do all your shitpost memes." And I was a
Okay.
huge shitposter meme. Like I was the biggest shitposter meme at that time. Honestly, some of my shitposts is just like if you looked at that time of the shitpost, it was so fucking hilarious but cursed. And
Worse than now?
it would honestly be worse than now.
Yikes.
Mm.
And I was like, you know what? And he would nag me until like roughly like he would nag me into pester me all for like a full ass 3 months, pestering me into joining the D&D club. I was like, okay, I can see. Just I want you to shut up about this club. I walk into this club. walked into the one group that has a conflict with with Sally and Billy Bob and this other DM couple that was like arguing over about like death. I don't know the full context. I was like, okay. Saw one group full of laughter, and then Billy Bob was like, you know what? I gotta start a new group, and that couple group left. I was like, you know what? Sure, I'm gonna join my friend, Billy Bob. Joined him, his group, after like a few months, almost like a few months, nearly a year of a whole camp of me playing. But during that time, my first character, it was like this really huge meme character of like a fucking Azimar. He has like an edgy background story, but his name was John something. I can't remember. He was like this evocation wizard that was just such a meme. And he was like dressed up as like a fucking meme. Like, I vividly remember him. Like, vividly. I only remember the first name, mainly because after that, and I did like, and the DM was like, okay, so here's like, he goes into a lot of jargon with me, right? About how classes work and everything, to the point where I was like, oh, what? And this is a kind of a lesson for a lot of newer DMs introducing D&D to new players, is just give a concept to class and give what is necessary. Like, just make it simple. Like, say, con is health. Which class do you want to go for? Because con you're always gonna need. Dex is might be needed, but and with his jargon, I made a character with after hearing the jargon and made this evocation wizard. When I walked into this session, played first session, we had a fuck ton of zombies. We were level 5. When we were level 5, I was immediately like all the zombies, and there was a druid, Sally. That druid was able to conjure way more nasty shit than I could even do. And I know how druids can be nastier than a fucking wizard from that fucker. But besides my language, I see this motherfucker. All these zombies surround me and fucking mauled my ass down. Where I didn't make any death saves. I
Ooh.
was just mauled. When I was decently, the druid, Sally, would just been mauling down fuck ton of enemies.
So no one came to your rescue, basically, and you
No
basically
one came to my
died.
rescue and let me die.
Ooh.
And then I played a new character, the Hexblade Warlock. And this is actually kind of the second character that I'll admit I did not realize it until like the DM was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna allow this UA Cursebringer." Biggest mistake that he ever made, because he was all about, oh yeah, balance and balance, even though I don't believe in balance. Mainly because of fucking druids exist and how they're fucking built.
Okay.
When I made this Hexblade, I was an insane bastard. Granted, I was playing it off as insane and a meme.
Okay.
And was chaotic evil. We were doing a raid, right? Raiding through a mansion of a lord. I decided, you know what? But when everyone's doing shit away from me, I was like, you know what? No mercy, no witnesses. I was attempting to slaughter the maids. Sally, out of nowhere, came out of nowhere and fucking restrained my ass.
Really? What happened after that?
And when that happened, internally I was pissed. Mainly because I was like, dude, I was far fucking away from you. And this was like when I was like this bottling inside bastard who was like, this was a time when I was like bottle shit up easily.
Okay.
And when I bottled this shit up, I noticed every time, and it took me like almost like the whole year of the campaign. I felt something was going on between Billy Bob and Sally, and how the Billy Bob and Sally acted with each other.
Okay.
And
Wh-
that's where I'm gonna leave the story at, and leave it up interpretation.
I think we can pretty much guess where it's going from there with this.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm gonna
That's why.
piggyback off you on that because I have a equally, not quite equally, but a similar kind of story when I first started playing D&D, and I'm gonna share it here because don't do what I did and don't do what my DM did. So in a very similar fashion, the person who would become my DM was very pushy and insisted, like, "Hey, try this out. You'd love this." The only difference, it was Pathfinder and not Dungeons and Dragons, so a little
Ooh,
different, a lot more
ooh.
complicated. If you're gonna choose
Something.
between Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder, I would suggest Dungeons and Dragons because honestly, it's a lot less complicated than Pathfinder. Pathfinder is very complicated.
Yeah.
So the first campaign wasn't actually with him as my DM, but his buddy as DM. But like that campaign slowly fizzled out anyway, and I left early regardless. So that didn't really go anywhere. But then he started doing his own campaigns and being the DM. Admittedly, I felt a little behind compared to the other two because these three that I had joined the group on were like, tight friends. They were very well versed in role play and everything like that, and I was kind of like very far behind them. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing, so I was pretty much silent the other most of the time. And he would kind of like chastise me a little bit for always being quiet, and I'm just like, well, what do you want me to do? I don't know what to say, and I feel a little like I don't know, I'm trying to keep up, but I can't keep up with them, kind of thing. Um,
Yeah, honestly, that was kind of the same with me during my first campaign.
yeah,
During
it's
our
gonna
first
be a thing,
campaign.
unfortunately, Raptor. It's definitely a thing. But I definitely admit I was a little bit not quite a shit, but I did get a little jealous when the other players got their stuff first, and I had to wait and had to work for mine versus like it felt like they just got theirs without any effort at all. So I'm just like, this seems a little unfair. But he's like, but don't worry, yours is gonna be the best out of all of them. I'm like, But then he got bored of that campaign, decided to put it on a hiatus, and we started a new one. It's actually where I first created Arla for. She's a lot different back then, but regardless. Um, the DM would often tell me of things he had planned and special items that were going to be available and things like that. Like he told me that while we would just chat. So I knew about certain things that would be introduced ahead of time. And you don't want to do that. It's nice to give your players an idea of what direction you're going to be heading with the campaign, but don't tell them everything.
Yeah, that is like honestly, I seen that with one of my players that's doing camping. I'm
Don't
like in my head, I'm like, you're a
don't do
fucking
that.
idiot.
Yeah, don't do that. But he did that with me, and he told me that there would be this cursed object that would permanently change the sex of your character. So if you were a female, it changed you into a guy. If you were a guy, it changed you into a female. Well, I got a hold of this, and because I was excited for what it could do, I tried to get one of the other guys to put it on, but they wouldn't, so I just put it on my character because I knew what it was going to do. And, then we find out later that it's broken, actually, and that it has more effects to it. Um, and so we find like a drider that was still, I guess, still sentient and still willing to converse with us. And she fixed it, and she, like, I believe my character had transformed back into a female at that time too. But I think the part that really what got to me, because very similar to you, Ruthless, at the time I was part of this campaign, I was very emotionally vulnerable, not really vulnerable, like emotionally unstable. I think it's about mentally and emotionally unstable. I had a lot of issues. My trauma was at its peak during that time, and the DM was also someone that I had I shared a lot of this stuff with because he was kind of like my therapist. So he knew about my issues per se. So I think this I also added into how I felt even more. Uh, but he had the NPC just put it on to my character, the girdle, said some words, and I was like transformed into a manny, but like a sexier man, I guess, and saying how my spellcasting would be stronger, but I'd be an idiot. I'd essentially be a himbo, and I had to serve the wizard of our group that she had
Oh,
that she basically not really controlled me, but like I had to obey her. And if I ever wanted to take the girdle off, I had to say, "Please, master, may I take it off?" And I personally did not like that for starters.
Uh,
uh,
And here's the thing: he tried
uh.
to argue like, "But we don't ever do that kind of role play. It's fine." And I'm like, "No, it's not."
and it is not.
No,
Okay,
no.
it would be a
Yeah.
nice. Okay, it was like iffy on the front of changing someone's gender as a DDM permanently. That was the part that was iffy. Like the fact that it changes
I mean,
someone's
when they
gender.
like it was a curse object, so I kind of accepted that because curses are kind of meant to be permanent things that can have very drastic effects. So I was fine on that. And plus, it was something small and fun that I willingly accepted anyway, so I had no issue with that. But when that happened, I felt very, for one, betrayed because that just not feel right. Two, that did not sit well with me at all. Because like again, you guys know what I am. I am a sex adverse, asexual. So just that kind of stuff. Like even though it was like not necessarily directed towards me, it was my character having to direct it towards someone else, and I was just like, oh no, I can't
Yeah.
do that. That doesn't sit right with me. Um, and just the fact that I have trust issues. I have issues with like people doing that kind of stuff where like I trust them and then they like stab me in the back. Very similar with you, Ruthless. We've shared that kind of issue with trust. Um, so I was not happy with him, and I tried to be good and tried to like bottle it, but bottling wasn't gonna win. And I do not suggest doing what I did because it was still very bad. I was still at fault, but I'm going to share this regardless so you guys can learn from my mistakes. I went off on him. I called him out for being an asshole. I said it was completely stupid what he did, and I insulted his writing skills.
Hmm.
And again, like, don't ever do this because, like, again, I was a child. Bottling never solves anything. But going off on people, don't ever either. Uh, he, obviously, I attacked him, so he attacked me back because that's how things work. Always remember that that's how it works. Usually, if you attack someone, they're going to attack back. Um, basically told me that I need to get over my issues, that I was a little too attached to my character, and that I should never be attached to my character. So that was a bad thing on my part. And I need to get over all my personal issues and not let it get in the way of the game. And not long after that, he kicked me from the game, which, I mean, to people in his position, that would be the most obvious thing to do. But his friends blocked me on Discord, so I could not communicate with them at all. They immediately took his side, would not hear me out, and yeah, no, they're very adamant on kicking me. And I mean, I tried my best to get back in because like that kind of devastated me, like being kicked from a role play game because I was enjoying it, even though I wasn't actively a part of it. I was enjoying it. Um, even even now, he has tried to get back in touch with me, but he still fails to see what he did wrong. And I get the feeling of that too, because there are times where he just casually brings up the game he kicked me from and talks about what he and his friends are doing in it. And I am sitting here like, I don't fucking care. I really don't. Like, I want to be the adult here and try to show interest, but at the same time, I'm a bitter bitch. I know what I did was no. Hold on, one moment, Ruthless. I know what I did was wrong. I understand that. I understand fully that I should not have snapped on him. I should not have gone off like I did. I should have handled things more like an adult and not like an 18-year-old, having issues. Instead of like the 20-something-year-old I was at the time, like 21 or 22, something like that. Might have been 23. I was somewhere in there. I was in my early 20s. But, no, what I did was wrong. However, don't be like him either. Because one, what he did as a DM wasn't good. I mean, he was still fairly inexperienced as a DM, but like, there's a difference. There's a big difference. I mean, from what I told you, Ruthless, and from what you've seen from me, like from my first time as a DM, you can kind of see a difference, right?
Yeah, there's a monumental difference. I will say this up front. It's in like sometimes when you're like, I really don't recommend a younger DM. I also would prefer a old like someone like if
Well,
you're
here's the
DMing
thing.
or
He was older than me. He was in his 30s.
what the fuck. I have to say what the fuck.
I mean, for the first actual session I had with him as a DM, I was role playing a cleric. Well, not really cleric, but it was like a war priest, so more a paladin than anything. But I was role playing a war priest that had just gotten out of the clergy, was finally out on her own to like, do paladin things essentially. And one of the things that she was like, that was like the kind of cliche goody good girl, no alcohol, no none of this, like always does what she's supposed to, follows the rules and that kind of stuff. And we were all meeting. They had the party meet at a bar, and he actually attacked my character and me as a player for not ordering alcohol in a bar where the barkeeper worships the god of alcohol and adventuring, saying I was insulting him by ordering water.
Yikes.
And we wouldn't get the quest from him if I didn't order alcohol or drink alcohol. Basically saying, if things go wrong, it's your fault and you're ruining everything.
Yikes.
Yes. So, he wasn't the greatest DM. He still obviously had a lot to learn. He had control issues. I can say that up front. He definitely did. But again, like even what I did was very wrong. You should never go off on someone. Um, again, like just what really made it worse was just because he knew my issues and he still did that anyway, and I think that's what hurt the most. It's like,
That's
dude, you know I have issues with this, so why would you do this?
yeah, like I'll admit up front, hearing the the part of the context of him knowing and knowing that you have issues, I'm like, okay. I would have to argue he's more in the wrong, but still, you're a bit in the wrong. I'll say this up front.
No, I'm definitely in the wrong. I'm definitely like I have no delusions about that. I know I'm in the wrong because, like I said, I should not have gone off on him. I should have handled things more respectfully and as the adult I was pretending to be at the time. Who am I fucking am I kidding? But no, yeah, like I was definitely in the wrong. But again, like it just even now, again, I could easily forgive him if he just accepted what he did was wrong too.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
he doesn't. So
You guys
I
reminded me of something that happened during my first campaign I played in.
All right, 1 second. Let Raptor speak.
oh, I was just gonna say I would say this might just be my personal point of view. There was like wrong on both sides, yes, but I honestly personally see more wrong from the DM's part.
See, I do agree on that front. Maybe I might be a little biased too because I we were both victims and we were both the attackers. I very clearly see that. Like I have no illusions or delusions to all that stuff. But again, like I would have no issue talking with him again. I'd have no issue even playing like just role play again with him if for the fact that what it was, he never acknowledged what he did wrong in there and everything was my fault.
See, that part was like sometimes okay, like the part that I would understand if he did not know that it was that much of like if he did not know that is the problem, that problem, or not fully opening his own eyes that yeah, there's a bit of a problem that you're doing X. Now, if it's if it's something like, for instance, like if there's like a clear boundary that's been set, that's been clear from the get go, then I would be like, dude, why the fuck you you do this? Or even knowing that the player would have problems like that. I honestly remember how the first I annoyed one of my players enough that he went off on me. And I honestly, after he went off on me, I took a minute to think about what he said, and I was like, just slow down. Okay, like I was on. It was like, and mind you, it was like when I was like, I think it was like 2 or a year ago when that player went off on me, and I tried to break it down and try try to diffuse the situation as much as, and I kind of viewed him going defensive in that situation also kind of made it worse.
Right. Which I admit I encountered something like that with Ship. So I mean, remember when you guys were getting to the more business side of everything,
Yeah,
and
that was pissing me off so fucking much.
how he wanted what you had too, and he was getting pissed off because he couldn't get that sooner, just like you were, but like you had, a bit more of a. I get. I don't even remember what it was. I think I was just pissed off with him. Um, he he um he accused me of favoritism and then went off on me both in the roleplay chat and then in DMs.
Yeah,
Which I mean, looking back, I'm like, yeah, there was clear favoritism because I fucking hate you right now. And because with you, I'm like, I don't know why, but with you, it was easier to digest that happening because I don't know, like it just felt different coming from you. But
yeah.
then when Ship was doing it, I'm just sitting here like, oh, fucking great. What do we? Why? Why are we doing this? Why do you want this?
Admittedly, it did felt different when he gets like when he does like when things like that happen with him. It felt so different.
It,
But
it really
granted,
did.
I did cut like in my it might be the mindset of like just being the character or be like, maybe I can try this scheme and just like kind of just blindfolded to see what will happen. Like he honestly kind of had like he kind of just blindfolded like have like an idea of a plan and just blindfold in.
Pretty much. He was he was a piece of work. But Skull, you were reminded of something that happened when you were first playing D&D from the stories that we were
Yeah,
sharing.
yeah. It was actually the whole ruthless ruthless's character getting left for dead. So, my first Dungeons and Dragons campaign was actually partially my idea. I had learned a little bit about Dungeons and Dragons, and there was a teacher at the school who was running this. We called it the Finer Things Club, and it was essentially like for the students who enjoyed anime, manga, tabletop games, all that sort of stuff. And he had wanted to get into DMing, right? So my friend group and I were one of the first groups that played D&D. We were going through just with the starter set. And at the time, we were doing the first like notable battle in the uh, starter set campaign. At the same time, though, letting a bunch of like 12 and 13-year-olds who were going through a bunch of drama in their friend group play Dungeons and Dragons together probably wasn't a great idea because what happened? We had gotten into a collective argument earlier that day, and the person who had started the argument was downed. Like, their character was downed, and we just left him to die.
Mm.
Like, the mentality of like 12 and 13-year-olds is like, oh, you were being a jerk, why should we help you? You know?
Yes.
And so we did that, and we were just very much angry.
Okay.
Yeah, he threw a hissy fit at the table after because we let him die.
Oh well.
Yeah. And then, I feel kind of bad about this part because with his second character, we actively tried to get his character killed, hoping we could get him angry enough to just stop playing D&D with us, which never actually happened.
That's kind of twisted. I hope you know that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Again, it was like a bunch of 12 and 13-year-olds, and we were mad at this guy because he was being a jerk to everyone in our friend group.
I mean, okay, that's fair. I mean, it's still twisted, but I mean, it's fair.
Yeah.
honestly kind of view that to be a little messed up.
Well, I mean, it's going to be. It's D&D. There's always gonna be a bunch of fucked up things. Look at Thorn.
Yeah, then again, I'm someone who believes in second chances.
Ha!
Yeah. Yeah.
Good luck with that.
That campaign also started off what is essentially my notorious thing with pickpocketing and looting corpses
Oh,
as a
so that's
rogue.
where you got your rogue beginnings.
Yes, that was the first campaign I played. That was where I played. I think I was. Oh, I can't remember. It was one of the three main subclasses of rogue in the player's handbook, though. It wasn't arcane trickster.
Assassin.
No, it wasn't assassin. It was the other one.
Uh,
The other one. The most forgettable one.
fuck. Well, I'd forgotten it.
Yeah, the thief. The thief
Oh,
background.
is that what? Wait, thief? Really? Thief's in the player handbook?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's arcane trickster, assassin, and thief.
Oh, well, good to know.
But yeah. Oh, we had our friend group's group was big enough that we actually ran out of the basic characters, and two of the people in our party we had a high elf noble fighter and our wizard were both attacked by goblins, caught off guard and knocked out. Yeah, just to put us, this is the funniest thing, is like this teacher was like, okay, well maybe if I like just have something unfortunate happen to everyone, they'll stop trying to like one up each other. Which did work because the three people who were like butting heads the most did end up quitting. Anyways, these goblins knocked them out, stole all of their valuable items. Except for like their basic weapons, or I think for the wizard it was their spell book, but they were left with pretty much nothing.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. I should mention that we never actually got to finish this campaign, and by the end,
Wait,
I
is that
think
the one where you romance a blacksmith?
no, that was the one in high school. This one was middle school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, 12-year-old me wouldn't be smart enough to like flirt with the blacksmith,
Fair enough.
nor would it be nor would it be allowed.
Man, that's no fun though.
But there was that. By the end of that, we got close to the end of the campaign. We were in the last area, but it was basically there were like 6 or 7 different groups of students who were playing all at the same time, and there was like 5 of us left from each of the respective groups.
Okay.
And so eventually we were just kind of merged down to this one group. And we never actually got to finish the campaign. Not to mention that the teacher who was running the thing decided to go with the last campaign group that they had actually ran with, which meant that the party that was there, we were left with no living NPCs. That party decided to murder everyone in the town that this takes place in.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of a wow.
Yeah. It was a yikes.
That very much is a yikes.
It was pure chaos on all ends.
It certainly sounds like that, or you know.
Yeah.
But
It was fun though. I think
it
I
sounds
still
like
got
it.
I think I still got the character sheet somewhere too.
Anyone else got any other stories?
That reminds me of the terrorist paladin,
Oh no.
the jihad paladin.
Oh no. What's this story? I
Short
think now
version.
it's your time, Ruthless. Your turn to share all your stories, because I think we've shared all ours.
One's I'm just gonna tell you one, maybe because some of the stories I'm not even sure. I'm honestly some of the stories I think some of you guys will die inside a little bit.
If they're anything, the ones you've already told me, then probably.
Yeah. So, the funniest one by far. So, one of my players, right? He decides to use this black licorice oil thing. And there's like this child that can breathe fire.
Oh no.
He came along and they met in like a adventurer's guild. Guess what he decides to do? And this is the paladin that is like so fucking. The context of this paladin. He decided to seduce the hag. First thing, like seduce a hag that's like the hag while they were on the ship.
Oh, dear lord.
And he was the fucking ultimate bard.
For being a paladin?
Yes. And even his goddess was Aphrodite. And he was playing to that full ass meme of the bard. And he's deciding, yeah, let's pour this fucking this weird ichor. That there was a lot of fucking red signs of like, do not put it in like a child's mouth. And by the way, this child recently gained being able to spew out flames from their mouth. Those are very powerful flames.
Joy.
Almost like a dragon. So what he did, and they were doing this in the middle of the fucking guild.
Okay.
When they did this, the oil and the fire did not go well together when he poured all that fucking oil down the child's throat.
My gosh.
And practically did a fucking giant ass explosion in the guild. And I rolled like a D100 of how much it would be destroyed because I did not expect this at all.
I think
I
with your
rolled
players, you've got to expect the unexpected at this point.
with my players, and this was the first campaign with these three people
Oh
that I
no.
brought. And this was the first time I was running a game with this guy. I rolled 100. He wasted the whole place down to fucking rubble.
Oh
Slaughtered them
gosh.
all. And the child was a fucking burnt corpse.
Oh boy.
I was like, what the fuck? I was honestly when that happened, I was like,
You fucking serious?
I was honestly speechless when he did that. And that when that happened, I was like, speechless. Even my own players that was in that session, they heard this shit and they were like, what the fuck?
That's really fucked. And you all thought you were chaotic. That
Yeah, my
your
players can be
players are
extra.
something else.
Granted, they're very
Whoa.
like they do some fucked up shit.
Oh boy.
That's just whoa.
Yeah.
You guys could never. I will say that right now. You guys could never do that.
I don't know, ruthless maybe.
Ruthless maybe, but the
Ruthless,
rest of y'all
maybe.
know. Ruthless just needs the right character to do it.
Yeah, it has to be like the most insane character.
Like, Jack, right? Jack?
Well, he would if he was going. I would kind of prepared if he was going to deeper into madness. Yeah, he could easily fucking been like, oh yeah, genocide.
Burn it all
Oh,
to
yeah,
the
cool.
ground.
I wouldn't
Fuck
be
all the
surprised with Jack.
Yeah, it's Jack. What you expect?
See, that's how Thorn should have been, but you know, we don't judge, right?
No, with Thorn we judge heavily.
The insane but not insane character.
Yeah. Honestly, I was trying to make it subtle, but no.
You definitely did a good job.
That's the problem with making it insane. Is like sometimes you have to understand the psychology. Like
Yeah.
sometimes if you're trying to be a serial killer, you have to think of or even insane character. You gotta have to think of okay, what is something
You have to be smart about
that
it.
you
Yeah.
you have to be smart. And I kind of played it smart.
Hey, you definitely did. Jack was definitely the more insane of the two.
Yes.
On the topic of characters and stuff, with Ender, I'm hoping to do something a little more ambitious than I usually do, but I'm also scared I'm gonna mess it up really bad.
What are you planning?
Well, I mean, I've told you most of my idea. I'm
Yes.
just not gonna fully disclose with Raptor and Ruthless here. They don't get to know until we start the campaign.
That's fair.
I don't want to know. I want to be surprised. Like how I surprise him. Like I am sometimes some of the ideas come to me while I'm having a dream. I'm like, okay, I got to do this.
I really hope I pull this off well.
I have faith in you.
Man, we're gonna have so many more stories to share afterwards with this new campaign that we're starting.
It won't be till August, so that'll be a while.
Hey, it's soon. It's like a month.
Don't remind me. I'll be able to actually get the planning done once I get everything from everyone that's actually going to be joining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send Photon a message after we're done here and just double check.
Well, my question for you guys is there anything else you want to share, or do you feel like we've hit a good spot?
I think this is a good spot to end.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, if we end up remembering any more stories we want to share, we can always do another episode of this in the future.
Exactly. So, on that note, we are going to end it here. It's slightly shorter than usual, but it has been fun. Um, this has been the Gamer Chats with our podcast on Dungeons and Dragons and our experiences with it. And we hope you guys all have a good morning, evening, or night wherever it is you are.